once felt. I'm done with the defense. Drove back and climbed over your fence. Had to show you that I was a mess. So you were shrugging your shoulders. I'm closed off, that's what I told you. Soon enough, everything started to change. Cause there's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying highs.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 6. Oh my gosh, is it day 6? That's crazy. Okay, so I was about to go up and start editing my vlog from yesterday, but I know that you guys wanted a hair tutorial, and I mean, look at this crazy bed head. So I'm gonna give you guys a tutorial on how I got my like waves from the other day, but I will say that my hair is naturally wavy / curly, and I'm doing like a modified curly girl method. So just keep that in mind when you're, watching me do my hair. I washed it last night and I went to bed with it like wet, which is why it looks super crazy. So let's see if we can make it look nice today. Okay, so first off, oh, where's my brush? Here's my brush. I use a wet brush. You can get this at Walmart for like $3. I just have the mini one. And I have this bottle. It's just a spray bottle with water, and I do put some essential oils in it just to make my hair smell good, especially because like after work my hair will smell like work, obviously. But I just always do different ones. Sometimes I do lemon, sometimes I do peppermint. It's really just water. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush my hair just to get any tangles out from sleeping last night. And I like to do mine like on the sides, so I'll like kind of part it in the side. It doesn't have to be parted in the middle, you can part it wherever you want. I kind of like to do it in the middle, that way I can like flip it to one side and it still like looks nice. All right, so then you're just going to wet down all of these ends because they obviously look terrible after being brushed, because you're not supposed to brush like curly hair. Okay, then I brush through the wet hair just to like make sure it's wet. All right, just make sure it is wet. Okay, now I'm gonna use a little bit of this Curl Talk cream from Not Your Mother's, and I don't use a whole bunch, like maybe this much like per side. And you're just gonna put it, I just put it on the ends because I don't need the top of my head to be anything. I like to keep the top of my head product free so that way I can get more wash days, or less wash days I should say, out of it. So we're just gonna put this in, and I'm gonna spray just a little bit more because I don't want it to dry yet. And I'm going to brush the product in to create curl clumps. Okay, so now the product is definitely in, so we can take our hair and kind of scrunch it up, and it's still kind of like wet, obviously. This is a microfiber towel. You could use a t-shirt if you want, but don't use a regular towel. And I just like scrunch it up like this so it like dries it but also makes the curls. Okay, and then the other side. So this is what we have so far. And now you're just gonna let it dry. Like, don't touch it, don't move it. If your hair is like getting in your face, sometimes I like pin it back. I have these like clips to kind of like pin it back and up, so it's like a little volume like that. And just let it dry for a while. You can diffuse it if you want, but I tend not to, just because I'm lazy, but also because I feel like it makes the product like come out of my hair, so I feel like it doesn't stay in my hair very well. And I like the curl cream because it makes sure that it like isn't frizzy, and it makes them like really glossy, nice waves like you saw in the picture. So yeah, I'm gonna go edit a video now while this like dries, and then I'll come back obviously once it's like dry, and I'll show you how I like kind of flip over and tell some of my roots a little bit. Jacqueline, welcome to Talk Bookish to Me. Happy Monday, bookworms. It's time for another book discussion. Gwen and I will be discussing The Project by Courtney Summers. Honestly, I don't know because I know a lot of people thought I was going to like it because of the cult aspect. Actually, I DNF Sadie. Finishing my book. So I finished my 4th book, which was All Boys Aren't Blue, and I am editing the podcast now because my boss is coming over in about an hour. So all the party trays are ready and I can't wait to like just play games and relax. It's gonna be super, super great. And all I have to do now is tomorrow finish Modern Love after work. My brother and his girlfriend, they are gonna come over and we're gonna probably play like some games and stuff, but I might be able to like finish Modern Love between all of that stuff. All Boys Aren't Blue, I'm totally giving 5 stars to. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. I freaking love memoirs so much. It was like such a heartbreaking story, just going through like what he dealt with through childhood up until adulthood, and he's only like, I think he said he's 33, so he isn't even like that old, but just all of the things that he had to like go through and deal with and put up with, even being like sexually assaulted and just like shamed for like wanting to be like who he is. And it's just such a like sad story, but also just empowering all at the same time. And I'm definitely like recommending it to everybody all the time, like everywhere, because it doesn't matter if you're Black or queer, you definitely have like a lot to learn from this book. I thought that was a spider. I have like the window open on the windowsill and there's like, I think there's like a bug down here, but anyway, I totally thought that was a spider and I almost lost my mind. But that is it. I need to go edit the podcast, which actually turned out really, really great. Even though I DNF'd the project, there's just a lot of different like thoughts and stuff that is going in the podcast and I love it. Can't wait to edit it and put it together, and you guys will actually see that on Monday. Monday is when that episode comes out, so really, really excited. I'm also really excited for like the next episode because we're going to talk about like libraries, how like getting books from a library is supporting an author and stuff like that, which I'm really excited about because I'm a big library supporter, but I always feel guilty for like not buying books to like support authors. But really excited for that one because I'm gonna do some like research and make sure that I like know exactly what's going on. But I gotta go edit before my boss comes, and I'll check in with you guys later. Good morning, guys. Today's the last day of the readathon, and it's 9 o'clock and I'm going to work. Which means that I will only get to read after work, and I don't even have an audiobook because the only last book that I have is The Modern Love, which is just the print book. So I also, like, my brother and his girlfriend are coming over tonight last minute, so I don't even think I'm gonna be able to do the sprints. Oh my gosh, all of these steps kill me. But yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do the sprints, and I'm not even sure if I'll be able to finish my book. We'll have to see. What's up? Okay, you guys, so it is the end of the Backlist Readathon, obviously. Today is Sunday, and so I had to work this morning, 9 to 5:30, which is why I'm just getting the video up for you guys now, and I wanted to talk about my total wrap up for the readathon because I am super proud of myself. Okay, so my TBR, I wanted to read 5 books in the week, but I really honestly wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do that because I'm still working full time, and obviously I have lots of other things on my plate. I am so proud to say that I finished 5 books, and that's not even including the pages that I read for 2 books that I DNF'd this week. So let's go through what I read. So the first book that I read, this was for the prompt of before 2017. I read Replay, and I gave this 4 stars. This, I think, would be great for Stephen King lovers and people that like the alternate reality / time travel type of trope. So this is about this guy, I don't even remember everybody's names anymore. Jeff. Okay, so Jeff dies in 1988 and gets transferred all the way back to 1963, age of 18, and he like relives his life until 1988 again, and then gets transferred back all over again. And so his life is like replaying this like really weird timeline, and pretty much things don't change even though he's trying to change the future. So he goes and tries to like make sure John F. Kennedy isn't assassinated. So this really did remind me of 11/22/63, and I did think it was a really good topic and really good book. The reason that I didn't rate it 5 stars is because the writing style lost me at times. I am not a fan of Stephen King, and so the like over descriptive, very historical type of writing is just not for me, and that's the only reason why. The whole rest of the book was like very, very good. The very last part was definitely thrilling, and I thought that there were just good themes and topics within it. I was a little bored during the middle half, but I definitely don't think that you guys would get bored if you already like Stephen King-esque writing. I think it was just me. Okay, then I went and did the prompt for read your favorite genre, and my favorite genre is thriller, and I read Alice Feeney's His and Hers. This one I had initially given 3 stars after I finished reading it, but I now bumped it down to 2 stars after, you know, writing my review and thinking very long and hard about this book. So the thing is about this one is I do think that people will like it. I mean, obviously they like it. A lot of people love this book. I don't know why, but we won't talk about them at the moment. But I can see why people would like this more than me, because this does have a detective POV as one of the POVs. And so this is about a detective who has been like sleeping with someone who ends up like being murdered, and then the other POV is this like news anchor. I think her name was Anna, and she's kind of like an unreliable narrator of sorts. So like she's an alcoholic. She's mad that this other news anchor came and like kind of replaced her at her job, even though she was the replacement for that news anchor. And so you're kind of going through this whole entire book listening to both of their sides, but they're both connected in this like murder that happened. So there are also parts of the book where the murderer is talking. So those are in italics, and I was listening to the audiobook and it was like a muffled voice, so you don't know like who the murderer is. And so yeah, that was like fine. There was definitely like times where I was like trying to guess the murderer. I was like buddy reading this with a friend and we were like having a good time trying to guess who the murderer was. And once I thought that I like pretty much knew exactly where it was going to, because we were getting close to the end, and I was like, oh, this makes sense, this is the person. Well, it changed like 2 more times after that. But the problem that I had is that the person that ended up being the murderer was so far-fetched in my opinion that it was so unbelievable. And then I felt like the ending just kept going and going, and it just needed to be like wrapped up and be done. And then there was this like very, very long, like, I don't know, letter or whatever it is of the murderer stating like how they did everything, you know, why they did everything, how at this scene they did this and they hid in this room and they picked up this and then they replaced it with that, so that way like it made it seem like it was other people. And I just don't like that because it was so unbelievable to me and far-fetched. It just felt very lazy on that part where it was like, okay, you know, Alice Feeney wants to like throw you off, so she's like, oh, I'm gonna put this person as the murderer. Now let me figure out how that fits into everything that I just wrote. We'll just write a letter at the end. So that's my thoughts about this. If you like detective novels, then you might like this. It's a lot slow paced. Like, it's pretty much just a mystery. It's not really a thriller. But yeah, Alice Feeney is one of my favorite authors, so I am still gonna pick up books from her because I do really like her 2 previous novels. Okay, then after that, I think I tried to read The Only Good Indians. So I picked this up. I got about 80 so pages in, and I just decided to DNF this. I'm actually gonna send it to a friend because this book just isn't for me. It's not my writing style. It's not the type of story that I normally read. It is a horror novel, but I really don't see how it's a horror novel, like within, I mean, other than there being like a lot of like animal slaughtering and hunting and stuff. But yeah, so I did put that down. That was the book I was reading for Own Voices. Also, this is not a backlist, but in my reading vlogs, I was reading The Project, and I did DNF this around the 50 to 70 page mark. Like, I was trying to listen to an audiobook, but I kind of tuned it out after a while. So this I'm just talking about because it was in my vlogs, but I do have a book discussion on this with my friend Gwen over on the podcast, which you saw me talk about that, and I was filming it in this vlog. So if you do want to hear my thoughts within the 50 page mark, this was the second book I DNF'd this week. And then the other books that I read, so for the middle grade book, I read Out of My Mind, and I gave this 4 stars. I thought this was so good. It's about this little girl who has cerebral palsy, and you just kind of learn what it's like to live in her shoes. So she can't walk or talk, and it was so incredibly cute. She got this like talk box, voice box thing where she could like type in what she wanted to say or like hit buttons, and it could like speak out loud for her or also print out the words. And a lot of it is about like how people saw her differently and didn't treat her the way that they should have. And she's really, really smart. Like, she has a photographic memory, so she becomes part of this like debate team of sorts. I don't know, it's like a trivia team in her school. And even then, like, the kids just don't, like, they're just not nice to her, and I felt so bad for her, but I really liked her as a character, and I thought it was a super cute middle grade. And then for the Own Voices prompt, I ended up listening to the whole entire audiobook. It was pretty much almost all in one day. I loved it so much. It was All Boys Aren't Blue, and this is a YA memoir, and I wish people would have told me this a while ago, because even though I don't like young adult novels, I love memoirs. Like, I am starting to learn that memoirs is one of my favorite genres, and I absolutely loved this because George was so real and honest. Like, at the beginning of this book, he literally says, I know that there's a lot of dark topics in this book, but even though this is a YA novel, like, this happened to me as a young adult. Like, this happened to me when I was a child, when I was a young adult. So I think that people need to hear this even when they're that young, because this could happen to them. They could be going through this stuff. And it talks about his whole life, how he dealt with being Black and being queer. And I learned so much about Black culture and queer culture, and it was so just, I don't know, I don't want to say like great, because obviously like there were a lot of hard topics, like there's sexual assault and just so many different things, but I don't know, I find those things very interesting, I think, because if I didn't live through something, I like reading about other people living through things, so I know that that's something that happens. But I highly recommend it. I gave it 5 stars. It was phenomenal, and the audiobook is super great. I highly recommend it. And then last but not least, what was this for? The book influencer book. So this is Modern Love. This is a collection of love stories that are from the New York Times, and they put them together in this book. There's also an Amazon Prime series, which I did watch 1 episode of that, and it was not super great. Like, it was kind of boring in the middle of it. I don't think I'm going to continue on with that series because I didn't have a chance to like keep going with it. This book is a 2-star to me. This is very much like poetry. It's very metaphorical and very deep, and you have to think about every single story and like the hidden meaning behind it and the hidden love behind it. And like, I am just not that type of person. So there were a couple stories in here that I thought were like 3 to 4 stars, but the majority of these were like 2-star reads to me. And a lot of these stories are only like 4 pages long, so it is an easy read. I just didn't really care for them. I thought that they were gonna be a lot more emotional, but to me it wasn't easy reading. But I think a poetry lover would really like this book. That's my thoughts about that. But yeah, that's it. So I can't believe I literally read 5 books this week. I am so proud of myself, and I just want to like give a really big thank you to you guys for participating in this readathon with me. I think this has been like my favorite readathon that I've ever done. Like, last year's round was really crazy, but I was so incredibly happy to like do daily vlogs this time, and I loved getting them out for you guys every single morning. Seeing you guys like tag me on Instagram and asking me questions and like responding to all my comments in my reading vlogs, like that really pushed me to like keep reading and doing the live, you know, Instagram sprints with you guys, and you hopped on and you talked to me. I loved that so much. I literally cannot wait to do another readathon with you guys because it is so fun. But I hope you guys had a really great week. I want to thank you again, and I will see you guys very soon in another video. Bye everyone.